So now back to the Freenode tutorial. When you're in the toolbar at the top, if you click on this little bookmarks drop down, you can always jump to the table of contents by using the contents bookmark. And then that'll take us back up here. And you'll notice we worked through chapter 0, which was getting the preparation set up to use the Freenode project guides. Most of these chapters at the beginning here, we've already completed using the Raspberry Pi Beginner's Guide. So, for example, getting a blinking LED to work, push buttons. We didn't do a bar graph LED, but that would be a fun one to go back and try. We did the RGB LED with the 4 prongs this last time. We've worked with buzzers already. Some of these, like potentiometers and reading temperature sensor, right? We did that with the Sense Hat. Same thing for joystick. We played with a joystick when we used the Sense Hat. But these chapters, if you wanted to go through them, would show you how to make those processes work with the individual components, which is a fun thing to do. But we're going to move on now into motors. And chapter 13 and 14, your DC motor and then this, let me click on that, there we go, this DC motor with a relay. Okay, they require a 9-volt battery, and I wasn't thinking ahead enough to order those when you guys came in, got your kits dropped off. So we're going to skip over those, and instead we're going to go to the chapter for the servo motor, so chapter 15, because the servo, we can make that motor work without using a 9-volt battery. If you have a 9-volt battery, though, at home, I would strongly recommend going back and doing chapters 13 and 14 to become familiar with those DC motors. Okay, we're going to use DC motors again when we get to our robot buggy project, because that we're going to use a different battery pack to control those motors, so we won't need a 9-volt battery. Okay, so you're going to go to project 15.1 and try going through those directions. The code is included in the download file in your file manager when you go to, oh, let me pull that over where you can see it. Okay, in your file manager when you go to the Freenode file, and then up here to code, okay, and then Python code. These are all the code files that come with each one of the chapters. So as you're working through and it asks you to open up code for a certain file, right, then you're going to go to that chapter and that file. So for the one that we're working on, chapter 15.1, you would open that, and then this will be your Python file, which should open up in, oh, I installed Mu, so it's opening up for me in the Mu IDE, but yours, if you don't have Mu installed, will open up in Fani. Okay, so you won't have to write the code for these programs. You're just going to focus on wiring the motor, following the directions in the tutorial, and then running the code as it's written. Because of that, it's really important when you're in the tutorial that you follow the circuit diagrams really closely. So make sure that you're using the pins that they tell you to. So if they tell you to use GPIO pin 18 in your circuit diagram, make sure that you're doing that, because otherwise your code isn't going to run correctly. If you make a change, so you're using a different pin number, for example, just make sure you go into the code that you download and adjust that parameter in the code so that it knows where to look for your component. Okay,